In the heart of a bustling city, shadows of danger lurked around every corner. Haruto, a powerful Japanese mafia boss, held dominion over the underworld with an iron fist. His name was whispered in fear and respect, known for making rivals disappear without a trace. He was tall, with piercing eyes that could freeze anyone in their tracks. Behind his cold exterior was a man who had sacrificed everything for power, but deep inside, he felt a void. On a stark contrast to Haruto's life of privilege and danger was Maya, a 19-year-old African-American woman. She wore a tattered gray shirt that hung loosely on her thin frame. Each day had become a struggle for survival as she slept on the streets, invisible to most people hurrying by. Despite her hardships, she remained resilient, with dreams of a brighter future lingering in her heart. One fateful day, their worlds would collide outside the lavish venue where Haruto's ex-fiancée, Suki, was about to be wed. Haruto spotted Maya sitting against a grimy wall, looking weary yet hopeful. "Hey," he said softly as he approached her. "What's your name?" "Maya," she replied, her voice barely audible. "What do you want?" "I'm not here to hurt you," he assured her, his mafia boss demeanor softening ever so slightly. "I just want to help." In that fleeting moment, something stirred in Haruto's heart, a curiosity that would lead them both down an unexpected and dangerous path. The grand wedding venue was a sight to behold, adorned with cascading flowers and shimmering lights that illuminated the smiles of the guests. Laughter and joyful chatter filled the air as Haruto entered, his presence commanding respect. Dressed in a perfectly tailored suit, he looked every bit the powerful Japanese mafia boss he was known to be. The guests parted like waves, their eyes drawn to the man who ruled the streets with an iron fist. Outside, Maya felt out of place as she stood tucked away in her tattered gray shirt. The dress she wore was a stark reminder of her struggles, each frayed edge telling a story of sleepless nights on the streets. As she watched elegantly dressed guests enter the venue, bitterness tinged her heart. "Why can't life be easy?" she whispered to herself. Haruto caught glimpses of Suki, laughing and dancing among friends, but his thoughts kept drifting to Maya. He wondered how someone like her could exist just outside this realm of opulence. As Suki approached him, radiant in her white gown, she smiled sweetly. "You made it! I'm glad you're here," she said. He nodded politely, yet his gaze wandered back to where he had left Maya moments before. Realizing he could not shake this connection, he turned to Suki and blurted out, "I need some air." Before he knew it, he stepped back outside toward Maya, feeling a mix of excitement and anxiety brewing in his chest. As Haruto stepped outside, the cool breeze brushed against his face, offering a stark contrast to the heat of the lavish wedding. He quickly spotted Maya sitting on the curb, her weary eyes revealing a world of hardships he could only imagine. Something about her struck him. It wasn't just her worn clothes, but the strength carved into her features despite her circumstances. "Hey," he approached cautiously, not wanting to startle her. "Are you hungry?" Maya lifted her head, blinking in surprise at the presence of the powerful mafia boss before her. "Me?" she asked incredulously, her voice barely above a whisper. "I have some food," Haruto said as he reached into his pocket and pulled out a sandwich from earlier. It was still wrapped and looked untouched. "Here." She hesitated for a moment before accepting it, looking into his piercing eyes that seemed so out of place in this setting. "Why are you helping me?" Maya questioned, unsure of his intentions. "Because everyone deserves kindness," he replied earnestly, revealing a softer side that few had seen. "Not just those in fancy suits." Maya stared at him, studying this man who wielded so much power. "You're the mafia boss," she said quietly. He nodded. "Yes, but here I'm just Haruto." With a hint of a smile breaking through her usual cautious exterior, Maya took a bite from the sandwich. In that moment, the barriers between their worlds began to fade away as they sat together on that curb, sharing an unexpected connection amidst a city full of noise and chaos. As they sat on the curb, the city lights flickered around them, casting shadows that danced in the night. Haruto glanced at Maya, her head bowed slightly as she took small bites of the sandwich he had offered. "Why are you out here?" he asked gently, genuinely curious about her story. Maya looked up, surprise flickering across her face. "It's where I have to be," she replied, her voice steady, but filled with a hint of sadness. "No one wants me inside. I don't belong." "Everyone belongs somewhere," Haruto said, his tone firm, yet kind. "Even you," he added, unable to hide the determination in his voice. Being a powerful mafia boss, he had always felt that he controlled everything around him, yet right now, he felt an urge to protect this young woman. Maya's eyes narrowed slightly as she studied him. "You speak like you know," she said softly. "But you're the mafia boss. You own the night." Haruto chuckled lightly, shaking his head. "It's not as glamorous as it seems. People see power, but they don't see the weight it carries," he admitted. "What's your dream? If you could change your life, what would you do?" She paused, visions of hope lighting up her gaze. "I want a home. A warm bed and food every day. Just to feel safe," she whispered. "A simple wish," Haruto replied thoughtfully, "but worth fighting for." In that moment, their worlds seemed to intersect, two souls from different lives sharing dreams under a starlit sky. Back inside the grand wedding hall, the atmosphere was filled with laughter and soft music as guests swayed to the rhythm. Haruto stood with Suki in the center of the dance floor, but his heart was elsewhere. Suki twirled gracefully, her white gown shimmering under the lights, yet he felt a weight pressing on him that had nothing to do with the beautiful scene unfolding around them. "Haruto, it's so good to have you here," Suki said, her voice sweet yet tinged with an underlying urgency. "It feels like old times, doesn't it?" He forced a smile, trying to mask the whirlwind of emotions within him. "Yes, it does," he replied, but his gaze drifted to the ornate doors, wishing he could glimpse Maya again. Suki noticed his distraction and narrowed her eyes slightly. "You're thinking about her, aren't you? That girl outside." "Don't be ridiculous," he shot back defensively, though his heart raced at the admission. "I'm just concerned for her." "Concerned? You brought her to my wedding." Suki's voice rose, drawing attention from nearby guests. "This isn't just some charity event for you to play hero." Haruto gripped her waist tighter, trying to regain focus. "Suki, please. I'm here for you tonight." Yet, as they danced, every twirl reminded him of the warmth in Maya's smile. Suki's words faded into the background as he pictured Maya's hopeful eyes. The tension between them tightened like a noose. Haruto was torn between his past, represented by Suki, and an uncertain future with Maya that intrigued him more than he could admit. As the dance concluded, Haruto's pulse raced with a sudden boldness that surprised even himself. He glanced back at the ornate doors, where Maya had been waiting. The thought of returning to her ignited a fire within him. He had to take action. "Excuse me," he said abruptly to Suki, pulling away from her grasp. "What are you doing?" Suki questioned, eyebrows raised in confusion. Haruto made his way toward the entrance, determination in his steps. He pushed through the doors, his heart pounding. Outside, the night air was refreshing, and there was Maya, still sitting on the curb with a puzzled expression. "Maya," he called softly. She turned to face him, her eyes wide with surprise. "Would you like to come inside? I want you to be my date for the wedding." Maya's mouth fell open. "Me? Are you serious?" He nodded, a smile breaking through his serious demeanor. "Yes, let's go. You belong in there more than I do." As they walked back inside together, whispers filled the hall. Guests exchanged shocked glances, particularly Suki and her family, who stood frozen in disbelief. "What is he doing?" Suki muttered under her breath, her face turning crimson. "Haruto, you can't just bring her here," one of Suki's relatives exclaimed, their outrage palpable. But Haruto brushed off their comments, leading Maya into the grand hall. With every step, he felt a thrill of defiance against the expectations of his world. In this moment, he was not just a mafia boss, he was a man determined to follow his heart. As Haruto and Maya walked through the doors of the wedding hall, the atmosphere seemed to shift. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the crowd as eyes turned toward them. Maya's heart raced, a mix of disbelief and joy flooding her senses. For a brief moment, she felt like she had stepped into a fairy tale, a world far removed from her reality on the streets. "Is this really happening?" she whispered to herself, glancing up at Haruto, who walked beside her with an air of confidence. His presence was commanding, yet right now he felt like a protector. The contrast between her tattered gray shirt and his sharp suit could not have been starker, yet it only highlighted the shocking nature of their union. Haruto smiled down at her, sensing her amazement. "You look incredible," he said softly, his voice meant only for her ears. "You belong here." Maya's eyes widened as she took in the elegance of twinkling chandeliers overhead and tables adorned with beautiful floral arrangements. Yet, amid the enchanting sights, a nagging thought tugged at her. This was all just a fleeting moment. She was still that girl from the streets. "Haruto," she hesitated, "are you sure about this?" "Absolutely," he replied firmly, glancing at the guests who were still staring in shock. Their gazes didn't bother him. All he cared about was Maya at that moment. As they moved further into the hall together, Maya felt a thrill of hope rise within her. For one night, she could escape her harsh reality and embrace this unexpected adventure with the powerful mafia boss who had stolen her heart. As Haruto and Maya mingled among the guests, their laughter echoed amidst the opulent decorations. But not everyone was pleased. Suki watched from a distance, her heart pounding in anger and jealousy. The sight of Haruto, the powerful Japanese mafia boss, smiling down at Maya ignited a fire within her. With fists clenched at her sides, Suki marched over, her elegant gown swishing with every determined step. "Haruto, what do you think you're doing?" she snapped, her voice cutting through the festive atmosphere. Maya turned, feeling the weight of Suki's glare on her. "You don't belong here," Suki exclaimed, pointing a manicured finger at Maya. "This isn't some charity event for you to play dress-up at." Maya's heart raced as she exchanged glances with Haruto, who stood tall and protective beside her. "Suki, this is my guest," he replied calmly but firmly. "Maya has as much right to be here as anyone else." "Guest?" Suki scoffed, bitterness lacing her words. "You brought someone like her to a wedding? Do you really think she fits in this world?" Maya felt the sting of Suki's words, but stood her ground. "I might not have your life," she said quietly but defiantly, "but I deserve happiness just like anyone else." The tension crackled in the air as guests hushed to witness the confrontation. Haruto stepped closer to Maya, his protectiveness shining through. "Suki," he said firmly, "you can't dictate who I care about." In that moment, Maya felt both vulnerable and empowered, a fierce determination stirring within her as she faced the disapproving glare of Suki and the judgmental whispers of those around them. After the wedding, Haruto stepped into a darker reality. Word had spread among rival gangs about his connection with Maya, and they viewed her as a vulnerability, a way to exploit him. Haruto knew he had to act quickly. He wasn't just a mafia boss. He was determined to show everyone, especially his enemies, that Maya was untouchable. One night, as they walked through the dimly lit streets, Haruto's steely gaze scanned their surroundings. "We need to be careful," he warned Maya as they passed an alleyway known for gang activity. "They might try to use you against me, but I won't let them." Maya looked up at him, her heart pounding. "Haruto, I can take care of myself," she insisted. "I know you're strong," he replied, placing a firm hand on her shoulder. "But no one should have to face that alone." His protective nature emerged forcefully. "I'm the mafia boss for a reason. I hold power over their safety. If anyone tries to hurt you or use you against me, I will handle it." Maya watched him closely, admiration mixing with apprehension. "You would fight for me?" "Always," he declared firmly. "You're not just some girl from the street. You're mine now." As they continued walking together, a newfound strength blossomed between them. Haruto's commitment to protect Maya ignited within her a sense of hope and safety she had never known before. She was no longer alone in this dangerous world filled with threats and shadows. As the days passed, danger loomed ever closer. Haruto and Maya often found themselves navigating the treacherous streets, where rival gangs prowled, searching for any sign of weakness from the powerful Japanese mafia boss. It was during these perilous encounters that their bond deepened, each moment charged with unspoken tension and raw emotion. One evening, while hiding in an abandoned warehouse to escape a group of menacing gang members, Haruto pulled Maya close, their breaths mingling in the stillness. "Stay with me," he whispered, his fierce gaze locking onto hers. "I won't let anything happen to you." Maya's heart raced, not just from fear but from the closeness they shared in that darkened space. "You promise?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "Always," he affirmed, brushing a stray hair behind her ear with a tenderness that contrasted sharply with their dangerous surroundings. In that moment, surrounded by the shadows of chaos, she felt fiercely alive, as if their love could conquer any threat. Suddenly, a loud crash interrupted their fragile moment. Haruto instinctively moved in front of Maya, his protective instincts kicking in. "Get back," he growled at the approaching figures, revealing the deadly mafia boss hidden beneath his softer exterior. As they fought their way out of danger together, each act of defense blurred the lines between fear and desire. Amidst the chaos and uncertainty of their lives, a passionate connection grew between them, the thrill of survival intertwining with an awakening romance that both excited and terrified them. Haruto was no longer just her protector. He became the man who stole her heart in the midst of darkness. In the relative safety of an abandoned building, Haruto and Maya found a moment to breathe amid the chaos of their lives. The sun filtered through broken windows, casting soft rays over the dust-covered floor. Haruto leaned against a wall while Maya sat on a crate, both realizing how fragile their current peace was. "Do you ever think about what life would be like if we weren't hiding?" Maya asked, her voice just above a whisper. Haruto looked thoughtful, his brow furrowing as he considered her question. "Every day," he admitted. "I dream of a place where I don't have to look over my shoulder. Maybe a quiet house by the sea, away from all this." He gestured around him, the weight of his role as mafia boss heavy on his shoulders. Maya smiled gently, picturing it vividly in her mind. "A garden with flowers?" she suggested, her eyes sparkling with hope. "Definitely," he replied, laughing softly for the first time in days. "What about you? What's your dream?" "I just want stability," she confessed, biting her lip nervously. "A place where I can feel safe. And maybe a family." Haruto's heart warmed at her words. "You're not alone anymore," he stated firmly. "I'll fight for that future with you." The intensity of their connection crackled in the dim light as they shared their dreams and fears. In that abandoned space filled with memories of hardship, their whispered hopes transformed into something more, a shared vision for a life beyond crime and chaos, a future fueled by love and resilience amidst the darkness surrounding them. Tensions escalated as word spread through the underworld that Haruto, the powerful Japanese mafia boss, was now head over heels in love with Maya, a woman from a completely different world. Rival gangs saw this as an opportunity, a chance to retaliate against Haruto's defiance and assert dominance in a way that would leave a mark. One night, as they were retreating to the safety of Haruto's hideout, the atmosphere thickened with dread. "We can't keep doing this," Maya whispered, glancing nervously at the shadows creeping along the alley walls. "It feels like we're just waiting for something bad to happen." Haruto looked into her eyes, his expression resolute. "I won't let them take you from me," he vowed, feeling the weight of his mafia title settle on his shoulders like a heavy shroud. But fate had other plans. A sudden crash echoed through the alleyway as rival gang members burst onto the scene, their menacing figures illuminated by a flickering streetlight. "Look who we have here," one of them sneered, brandishing a knife. "The mighty mafia boss and his little street princess." Haruto stepped in front of Maya instinctively, muscles tense and determined. "You're making a big mistake," he warned, his voice low and threatening. "We know how to deal with family issues," another gang member snarled, laughing cruelly as they advanced. Without hesitation, Haruto reached for the weapon hidden beneath his jacket, ready to defend not only his title as mafia boss, but also the woman he loved. In that charged moment of confrontation, Love and danger intertwined in an exhilarating dance that would determine their fates forever. The menacing gang members closed in, their laughter echoing in the dim alley. Haruto's heart raced, fueled by adrenaline and fierce determination to protect Maya at all costs. He could feel the weight of his title as a powerful Japanese mafia boss pressing down on him, but in that moment, it was the thought of Maya that ignited his courage. "Get away from her," he shouted, stepping forward with unwavering resolve, positioning himself as a shield between Maya and their attackers. One of the gang members sneered. "What's this? The big mafia boss can't even keep his little street princess safe?" Haruto's glare hardened, his voice low and lethal. "You have no idea who you're dealing with. I will protect what is mine." With that declaration, he reached for his weapon, the glint of metal reflecting his fierce love and protective instinct. Maya's breath caught in her throat as she realized just how far he was willing to go for her. The rival gang laughed, but Haruto stood firm, his body tense and ready for a fight. "You think you can threaten us? You're mistaken." His voice rang with authority, sending a chill through the air. In that charged atmosphere, time seemed to slow. As punches were thrown and chaos erupted around them, every movement reinforced the bond between Haruto and Maya, love forged in danger, strength born from vulnerability. Together they faced the storm, knowing that no matter the outcome, this fight was not just for survival, it was for their future together against all odds. In the aftermath of the fierce confrontation with rival gangs, Haruto and Maya found themselves in a quiet refuge. The chaos of their lives momentarily faded. The adrenaline still coursing through his veins, Haruto looked at Maya, her strength and resilience shining through despite the darkness they had faced together. "Maya," he said softly, reaching for her hand. "After everything we've been through, I realized something important." His voice trembled slightly, reflecting the weight of his emotions. "What is it?" she asked, uncertainty flickering in her eyes. "I want to marry you," he declared firmly. "You've shown me what it means to truly live beyond this life of crime. You're not just someone I want to protect. You're my partner, my heart." Maya's breath caught as joy and disbelief mingled within her. "Haruto, are you serious?" "Absolutely," he affirmed, his gaze steady and sincere. "In this world dominated by violence and fear, you are my hope. I will fight for our love against all odds." Tears glistened in her eyes as she processed his words. "I never thought I could have a future like this, not after everything I've been through. Together, we can create a new life," he promised, squeezing her hand tightly. "A life filled with love and safety." As they embraced, the warmth of their connection enveloped them like a protective shield against the chaos outside. In that moment of unity, Haruto and Maya forged an unbreakable bond, a symbol of hope and love that would endure even in the darkest times ahead, ready to face whatever challenges lay before them as one. In a surprising turn of events, Haruto chose an abandoned warehouse as the backdrop for his and Maya's wedding, transforming the space into a whimsical sanctuary of love. With the echoes of their tumultuous past behind them, he adorned the once desolate corners with vibrant flowers, soft lighting, and makeshift decorations that spoke of their unconventional journey. As they stood at the makeshift altar, Haruto wore a suit that mirrored his determination, while Maya radiated beauty in a simple but elegant dress that suited her spirit, her tattered gray shirt replaced by hope. Friends from the street, those who had witnessed their love blossom amidst chaos, filled the rows, their smiles bright against the gritty backdrop. "Maya," Haruto began, his voice steady yet tinged with emotion, "you are my heart in this dark world. I never imagined finding love in someone so different from me, yet here we are." Maya's eyes sparkled with tears of joy as she replied, "Haruto, you've shown me that even in the shadows, there's light. You make me feel valued, cherished. I can finally dream." A hush fell over the crowd as Haruto took her hands in his. "You are my partner, my strength. I promise to protect you always." With those words, they exchanged vows that resonated with a promise of hope and resilience. As they sealed their commitment with a kiss, the warehouse transformed, symbolizing their new life together, one filled with love against all odds. Their union stood as a testament to overcoming challenges and embracing a future where love triumphs over violence.